What's happening, people? If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to talk about loneliness while living in a van. So living in a van, you do feel like you're an outsider. You feel very isolated because you're not part of the system. You know, you're not living in the properties, so you feel like an outsider straight away. And loneliness does creep up. You know, especially well, my situation. You know, I haven't got any kids. I haven't got a relationship. Yeah, so it does really take effect on you, being lonely. And obviously because you're a van lifer, most people don't understand the way of life, so it's very hard to find people who understand the way of life and people who actually live your way of life, because it's very, very rare. And yeah, so I find it's very hard to combat loneliness. And you've got to find ways to keep yourself busy. Keep your mind active, keep doing things constantly. And this is why I started the YouTube channel, really, because it helps fence how I feel. I can talk about my feelings, my emotions, etc., etc. But yeah, loneliness, it's a real thing. It is a real thing. It really creeps up on you. It's all well and good when you're younger. You have much more friends, because you obviously haven't got any stresses or worries about, outside life in general. But then when you become an adult, it is very difficult because everyone's busy, everyone's working, everyone's got their own families. So when you're a single man, and on top of that, you live in a van as well, it's very difficult, very, very difficult to network with people. And obviously I do have a few friends and stuff, but they're always busy. They're always busy with their own lives. So trying to meet up with them and talk to them is very difficult. And like I said, loneliness living in a camper van, like when you're in a camper van, it is lonely, because like I said, you're in a unique situation where people don't understand your way of living, and yeah, so it's kind of hard to meet people because of your way of living as well. But what would be great is if there was some sort of community of van lifers. But the problem is when you sort of live in the middle of the country, it's not very popular. I think down south, like Cornwall, Devon, obviously Scotland, yeah, there's pretty much be a community of van lifers. But around sort of like London way, Hertfordshire, Buckinghamshire, Bedfordshire, Sussex, those sort of counties, it's not very popular. So it is hard to find people who do live your way of life. So like I said, I think the best way to combat loneliness living in a van is just keep yourself busy, keep your mind occupied, keep trying to do activities, hobbies, just constantly doing things. Because when you're like sitting still and doing nothing, that's when it creeps up on you and you're like, oh, I really wish I had someone to hang out with, or someone to do an activity with. So yeah, loneliness is a real thing that we should obviously look into and combat and try to understand it a bit more. But if you thought this was useful or interesting, make sure you subscribe. Peace.